Hello, 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 everyone. Sunday Adelaja here. Yeah, let me put on that light behind the door. I mean, not that, not this, no, door. So, welcome everyone. And who is the first person today? Who do we see first today? Okay, who is there? Who is going to greet us first? Victor Ogundipe, welcome. I'm sorry I'm coming late a bit today, but today is Saturday. Akinyemi Adebayo, welcome. Pastor Irene, nice to see you. Nikki Christian, thank you. Greeting me, thank you. Fisayo, hi. Bobo, Azunwena, blessing. Rochelle White, Tokumbo Talks, Thompson Abigail, Indras Emmanuel, Jacinth Williams. Blessing to all of you. Bosef Fayanjola, welcome everyone. Let's quickly go and share the link as they are coming. Esther Kuganja, Mashu Esong, Mayowa. As you are all coming, please go and share the link as well. Abidogu Michael, Olabode Thomas Ayole. Oh, Bode, but the reason I didn't recognize you, Bode, is that I was thinking Bode Thomas is supposed to be my classmate and my friend, my childhood friend from Ilese. Now I can see that this is the same Bode from Ilese, but I used to know you as Oshinowo. Now I'm seeing that you use Ayola. That is what confused me. I was saying, is this the same Bode Oshinowo? Is this same Bode Thomas? So nice to see you again. We went to school together with this guy. I mean, this guy knows me since I was like 6 years old. We started class together, 6-year-old kids. Now we are getting older now. Well, don't worry about that. I'm coming to meet you guys in Nigeria very soon. Very soon. So if you've not shared the link, please go ahead and share the link for this message. Go ahead and share the link. Please go ahead and share the link. And it will be a joy to have us start this program. Well, this is going to be a practical program as usual on Saturdays, Saturday evening and Sunday evenings. We are going to have testimonials of how ordinary Christians are taking the kingdom of God to their spheres of influence. We have a beautiful lady here today. Her name is Yelena, and Yelena is a medical doctor. She's a medical doctor. And she is going to share a story with us. Привет, Елена. Привет. Давай познакомимся с телезрителями. Представься.
Добрый вечер. Меня зовут Елена Дзивулька. Я очень рада быть сегодня вместе с вами. И хочу поблагодарить пастора Санде за эту возможность.
Good evening. My name is Yelena, and I'm happy to see all of you here today. And I want to also thank Pastor Sunday for the opportunity to be here.
И хочу с вами сегодня поделиться тем, что Бог сделал в моей жизни.
I want to share my testimony with you today,
чтобы вы были тоже благословлены.
So that my story could be a blessing to all of you. So let's go.
Я пришла в церковь 20 лет назад.
I came to church 20 years ago.
У меня была смертельная болезнь.
I was having a fatal disease.
И Бог меня исцелил через пастора Санде.
And I got my healing through the ministry of Pastor Sunday.
Но несмотря на это, я длительное время ходила просто в церковь. Я посещала воскресные служения, молилась, искала Бога, но в моей жизни мало что менялось.
Unfortunately, just like most of us when we come to church, I came to church, I was healed, and my life was transformed, but I was just a church member, just coming to church as usual, like many people are doing today.
То есть я была фактически номинальным верующим, как очень много верующих в мире. То есть я считала, если я хожу по воскресеньям, я молюсь, пощусь, этого достаточно, и Бог что-то должен делать в моей жизни.
So the point I'm trying to make is that I didn't immediately discover that just going to church is not a ministry, or just going to have doing something in church is not the purpose of a Christian's life. That the fact that you are a Christian and that you are a good believer, you go to church, you are in choir, or you are in the usher group or anything like that, that doesn't mean that you are serving God. The real ministry has to take you beyond the four walls of the church. I never knew that, so I was just trying to do my best service in the local church, but that was really not doing your best for God.
И на каком-то этапе хождения в церковь Бог начал меня сильно призывать. То есть Он мне открыл призвание.
Thank God that soon changed because after several years of coming to church, just trying to do something in the church, I discovered this revelation.
Но проблема была в том, что Бог меня открыл, я видела картины того, что Он хотел меня использовать, спасать тысячи людей. А я ходила в церковь, представьте, и где-то 10-15 лет я просто стояла в группе порядка и вела домашнюю группу 5 человек.
So at that point, I discovered that, how could you God just save me just to be the leader of a home group? I had 25 people in my home group, but that could not be the reason why God saved me. To save me just to be pastoring, to be leading 25 people in the home group and then standing in the usher group. That it will be too. I mean, how can God waste his own resources? I mean, die for me on the cross just for me to sit down in a church for years and years, coming just to lead a home group and not having impact. I began to understand from the teachings of the pastor that, we are saved for something glorious, for something much more bigger, for something, that should go along to affect the lives of millions.
И у меня был шок и стресс. Я вообще не могла найти ответа на данную ситуацию. Я искренне думала, что если Бог это показал, это как-то случится. Я проснусь, и это все, оно придет в мою жизнь.
I also went through the deception that many Christians go through, and that deception is thinking that God will just do things by himself. That I will wake up one day and that, God will make sure that all my visions and my aspirations have come to pass. That I will just keep on being faithful in this little thing, just leading a small group of 25 people and just obedient to the church and do everything that the church wants. And that one day God will just take me by the hand and take me to whatever, to the fulfillment of whatever calling that he has for me. But that is an illusion and a deception as well.
И я знаю тоже люди, с которыми я общалась на тот момент, и очень много христиан, даже в других церквях, они жили точно так же, такой же жизнью.
Yeah, unfortunately, till today, many churches are still living in that kind of illusion. And the illusion is the fact that we are coming to church thinking that because I pray about my vision, because I pray about my destiny, and because I tell God, use me, and I'm ready to do anything you want, that automatically, that means that God will just wake up one day and take us and just use us and begin to do whatever he would like to do with our lives. No, we have to be the ones who are proactive. We have to be the ones who are creative. We should be creative enough to add value to ourselves, to look for areas of our calling, our destiny, our purpose, and to pursue them. We've got to pay the price to pursue the fulfillment of the dream that God has called us to.
Просто ждали, что Бог что-то для нас, что Бог что-то сделает. И так проходил день за днем, год за годом. И представьте, 15 лет моя жизнь, она фактически не менялась.
So it is a whole deception in the body of Christ that we will all, just pray in the church and then be expecting that God himself will cause you to come to bring your vision, and he will just bring your vision and dream to pass. There are so many people like that who pray, Lord, use me, Lord, use me. Why they themselves are not doing anything? How can God use you while you are sitting down in the church? You've got to pursue your vision, your passion. You've got to look for ways and means of fulfilling your vision outside the four walls of the church. So because we are here to redeem the earth back to God and to subdue the earth for the Lord.
И представьте, пришел день, я очень сильно разочаровалась. Я даже подумала, это не Бог мне говорил, и я неправильно слышу. И я старалась вообще не думать ни о том, что Он мне открыл, и просто думаю, буду жить своей жизнью, как получится.
So, it got to a point when you are just going to church for so long, and you are going to church day after day, year after year, and you are just praying and believing God that one day God is going to use you, and you are going through the same motion. To be doing the same thing over and over again, over a long period of time, you will just begin to be bored at a time. So it got to a point like that in my own life as well, when I just started to get bored about the church, but I mean, it becomes boring. Can you imagine yourself going to a church for 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, and just singing and dancing and leading home group, and maybe singing in the choir or just being in the usher group, and in day out, while the whole world around you is progressive, is going forward, and you are just sitting down in one place? I mean, that shouldn't be the whole purpose of salvation. Christianity should be much more interesting than that.
Потом произошло что-то, что в корне изменило мою жизнь навсегда. В 2009 году пастор Сандей начал набирать домашние группы, чтобы лично работать с каждым человеком.
Now, all that changed in my life. My story changed after Pastor Sunday decided to recruit people for personal mentorship. When Pastor Sunday decided that he was going to be mentoring people, because before he was just like a senior pastor of the church, and he was only mentoring his pastors. So his pastors were under him, but he was not really mentoring himself personally, individual members of the church. But now Pastor Sunday announced that he was going to mentor any hungry member of the church. I mean, can you imagine Pastor Sunday? We had thousands of people in the church, and Pastor says any one of them, he will not only minister to pastors alone and to the senior ministers, but anybody could be in his own fellowship. Anybody could come to his own team and be mentored by him. That was what changed my life. Of course, for you to deserve to be in pastor's team like that, you must pass his exams. You must go through his school, a special training that he conducted, and you've got to go through that and pass the exams. So I went through that preparatory school, passed the exam, and that was the beginning of my own new life.
В моей жизни произошли просто невероятные изменения, которые я хочу, чтобы знали все.
And the changes that happened in my life, I'm so excited to share some of them with you.
Мне пришлось в контрольную работу, чтобы поступить на эту группу, мне пришлось написать то видение, которое Бог мне открыл.
One of the exams that you have to give to be able to be in Pastor Sunday's mentorship team is to answer the question, what are you living for? You've got to discover your calling. After a school, he will train you, he will teach you how to discover your calling, who you are, and you must tell him what you are living for. What do you want to achieve in your life before you leave this earth? What do you think God sent you here for? So I wrote my vision as my exam, as my project, my life purpose in Pastor Sunday's training.
И когда пастор Сандей прочитал эту работу, он мне задал несколько вопросов. У меня тоже был шок, почему он их задает. Потому что я думала, Боже, я же молюсь, я же пощусь, я хожу в церковь по воскресеньям, я веду группу 5 человек, я считала, что я делаю все, что надо. Но он задал абсолютно другие вопросы, какие-то реальные, там, допустим, потому что Бог мне открыл, сделал я какие-то вещи. Мне даже в голову не приходило их делать, честно говоря.
And so apart from writing the vision that you still have to go through an interview session with Pastor Sunday. So at the interview session, Pastor Sunday will say, okay, you wrote this, and this, that you are going to become this is your vision, this is what God wants you to become, this is what God has shown to you, and what have you done towards it? What have you done towards this goal? What have you done towards pursuing of this dream? What are you doing right now? What are the steps, the concrete steps of preparation? What are you doing today that will guarantee you for sure that in the next 5 to 10 years time that you have been in the next 5 years of in the next, maybe by 50% of your dream, or 10% of your dream, or you've been halfway of your dream, or out of the total, let's say, the number of the dream that you have written down, that you have covered maybe 30% of it, 20% of it in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years. What is the predictability of your vision? What are the things that you are doing right now that will guarantee anybody that yes, you are actually going to attain this vision that you have written down? But I never even did anything. I was just praying about it. I thought if you have a vision and the only thing you need to do about it is just to pray about it, and that God was going to bring it to pass. I never knew I was supposed to be taking some concrete steps and pursuing these visions and building my life according to the purpose that God has called me to.
И поймите, почему у меня был шок, это настолько мышление пастора Сандея отличалось от моего и от моих друзей. У меня было много друзей, мы просто ходили в церковь, мы молились, мы постились. И, в принципе, жизнь ни у кого не менялась, но мы считали, что это так все живут, все христиане так живут.
Even though I was in Pastor Sunday's church as a member, but his lifestyle and his way of thinking was so different from my own. Being a Pastor Sunday's member is nothing until you get discipled by Pastor Sunday, until you really get interacting with Pastor Sunday. But because we have a very big church, I never had any desire. I didn't even have any, a dream of getting to interact with Pastor Sunday personally. But when I started interacting with him, I discovered that this man is a real man, down-to-earth man. He's not living in the air somewhere. He is making things predictable. He's bringing his life to pass and is building things according to understanding on daily basis. Every day is planned out, and every next 10 years is planned out. Every next 20, 25 years is planned out. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows what result he's going to get next, and what he's doing today, what result that will give him in the next 25 years. And I was not living like that. I never even knew it was possible to live like that.
Мы считали, если в христианской жизни у кого-то что-то получается, это человек супер помазанный, или он какой-то особенный, призванный, гениальный, это как-то Бог по-особому с ним общается. Но это не для всех.
So we used to look at Pastor Sunday and just think that, wow, it's because he's such an anointed man of God. God has called him. God has anointed him. He's just chosen by God. And he must be the only one in the world that God could use this way. And any other men of God that we see, Benny Hinn and other people, we think that, oh, God has selected them. They are so anointed. Or that, we are putting all the responsibilities on God, as if God is the one to use people and God is the one to select people, to call people. And we are just the unlucky ones. We are just the people to assist them. But really, when Pastor Sunday began to teach us and train us in his mentorship team, we discovered that we could all do exactly what all of them are doing, and that nobody is worse than anybody, and that God is already in us. The kingdom of God is already in us, and the mind of Christ is already in us. We just need to learn to use that mind of Christ, and we just need to begin to put the principles and the wisdom of God into operation. And we never knew how to do that. We never knew that our destiny was in our hands, and that we could actually take the life into our own hands and actually achieve any goal and any purpose that we intend to achieve in our own lifetime without any problem whatsoever.
И когда пастор Сандей пришел в мою работу и задал мне пару вопросов, он начал громко смеяться при многих людях, которые там находились.
So at the interview, Pastor Sunday read my dream that what I was dreaming of becoming. And when he asked me the questions, what I was doing towards my dream, and I couldn't answer him, Pastor Sunday just started laughing. He was laughing so hard. And there were other students there, other mentees there, and other teachers there. He was just laughing so hard. And this lady is praying and fasting that God should make her dream come to pass. I mean, she's just a dreamer. I mean, how can you dreaming of, doing all these great things and you are not doing anything towards it, just praying and fasting? Are there angels that will come, or God himself will come and do those things for you?
Он сказал мне, что понимаешь ли ты, что несмотря на Бог, который открыл тебе призвание, ты его никогда не исполнишь, то, как ты живешь до сих пор.
Дальше.
Вот, и я была в шоке, честно говоря. Я не могла понять, потому что, поймите, я жила все это время, всю свою жизнь, я жила именно так, как я понимала. Весь христианский мир, который я знала, он так и жил.
Unfortunately, I was shocked what Pastor was saying. I never knew I needed to do anything apart from fasting and praying and reading Christian books and going to church and being the best Christian I could become and just trying to be faithful to my leaders and what they were telling me. But there was such a big gap between the Christianity I saw around me and even the pastors and the leaders that were leading me in Pastor Sunday's church. These people were coming to Pastor Sunday, listening to Pastor Sunday, but they didn't know how he lived. They didn't know how they are so different from him. They don't copy him. They just keep on looking at him as some Superman. But Pastor Sunday was telling us, no, if you just come to the ground, begin to do practical things to make sure that your dream comes to pass. Don't just expect that God is going to do anything for you. God has already done everything. Every other thing now is you who's supposed to do it for yourself.
Пастор Сандей спросил меня, хочу ли я меняться, и если я хочу исполнить это призвание, мне нужно будет выполнить очень много заданий, и мне нужно будет работать над собой и много трудиться. И он дал мне множество заданий, по которым я должна была давать ему отчет каждый месяц.
So Pastor Sunday began to say, okay, for you to become anything you want in life, and this particular dream that you have written down, let's sit down and plan it together. You can actually become all these things that you have written down, but you need to work. Are you ready for hard work? Only when you work hard and you've got to obey the training and the leadership I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you step-by-step strategy on how to become everything that you have written here and even exceed all the dreams that you have written here. That you could achieve everything you dream of. Put any goal before yourself and I'm going to guide you step by step to becoming who you dreamed of becoming.
И я начала это делать. Я действительно хотела очень сильно измениться. Я хотела, чтобы Бог меня использовал. Но Он стал давать совсем нерелигиозные задания. Мне было настолько сложно. Мне надо было полностью изменить свое мышление. потому что, ну, это так отличалось от того, что мы делали в церкви до сих пор. И прежде всего пастор Сандей сказал, что мне нужно выйти за стены церкви и начать работать с большим количеством неверующих людей.
Now, one of my dreams is to be able to have influence upon thousands of people, and I believe that that was what God told me, that I was going to influence, my life was going to influence thousands of people. And then pastor said, if you are going to influence thousands of people, okay, you must have some bridge between you and those people. You know, was totam shikai, daite ye mwandesh to should be on sacrifice rock and down with the shikapita. Should be on the kushubel. So that if you want to reach thousands of people, it's no problem. What are the bridges that you have built? What are the there must be a bridge. There must be a bridge between you and the thousands of people that you want to reach. So how do you want to reach thousands of people? You not having any way of communication with them, not having, you know, some system of interaction with them. You cannot just reach them because you are praying to God. God will bring them to you. No, you've got to build bridge, and that is one lesson for everybody. We that are praying that God should use us. What are the bridges we are building? What are the lines of communication between where we are right now and the future that we want to attain? Where is the bridge? What are the instruments? What are the venues? What are the avenues that we're using to communicate between where we are and where we want to be?
Я открыла общественную организацию. Так как я врач, я нашла такую проблему в обществе, как профилактика сердечно-сосудистых заболеваний, потому что Украина, она занимает ведущее место в Европе по смертности от инфарктов и инсультов. И вся моя команда, волонтеры, мы стали принимать участие в этой профилактике. Я хочу вам показать фотографии. Я вышла в мир и первый раз в своей жизни вышла за стены церкви. И вместо того, чтобы просто ходить в церковь по воскресеньям, мы стали делать очень много акций, на которые приглашали сотни неверующих людей. Мы измеряли им сахар, давление.
So being a medical doctor, I knew that my own bridge between me and the thousands of people and the millions of people that I want to reach in my life is the medicine. So that's my burden. That is my calling. I know I have a calling through medicine. So medicine is only an instrument. The true medicine to reach out to millions of people and to change the lives of millions of people. But what was I doing? I was just working as a regular doctor. I was working in the hospital as a medical doctor, just receiving patients, giving them, prescriptions, and just doing the medical work. That way, you will never be able to minister to millions of people. Maybe I only touch hundreds of people in my whole lifetime, or 1,000 of people in my lifetime. That's all. As a medical doctor, just, accepting and ministering to one patient and the other, you are a wasted life. And I didn't want my life to be wasted that way. I wanted millions of people to be affected by me. So, but then, since Pastor taught us that you must have a bridge. So, since your passion is medicine, find out the problems that are existing in medicine, and create, one of the ways or the other secret that he taught us to resolve, to build a bridge, is to find out the problems that are existing in the country, in the area of medicine. So I discovered that, I decided to do a research into what are the reasons, the causes of death in our country. And I discovered that the highest cause of death is heart attack and heart diseases, and heart attack, a stroke, and sugar diabetes. So Pastor Sunday taught us that now that you have discovered the problem of that sphere of life that you want to address, that build a bridge. And one of the ways you could build a bridge is either to build a hospital or to build an organization. So I decided to build an organization. Apart from working in a clinic as a doctor, I decided to build my own organization. Not a medical organization, but organization that is like NGO, in a public organization that is addressing these questions that are the first causes of death in the society. So we started having statistics of the people who have sugar diabetes in the country. So we did our own work. We have to do research. How many people have that kind of sickness? How many people have the problem with heart attack? How many people have the problem with stroke? I mean, with too much, with things that could lead to stroke. And then we also decided to find out what can we do to present this. We discovered that a lot of people, they don't know their state of health. They don't know that the state of their heart. So we decided that through our own organization, we are going to have a campaign for free examination of people, so that people will know their state of their heart, the state of their sugar, and the state of their fat. Yeah, they are fat, and so that we started through my public organization NGO. We now started doing a public event all over the city, whereby we could come to a section of the city or a region of the city and do advertisements and publicity. Everybody in that whole city or that section of the city could come out for free examinations and of their heartbeat, of their sugar, of their fat level, and all those kind of things. So because through that, I started ministering to thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people. From just being a medical doctor that was just ministering to one person at a time, I started reaching out to millions of people.
Я хочу показать фотографии.
I want you to see some photographs of our action. Надо показать нормально, чтобы было видно. Yeah, ближе, вот туда, See, this is my team.
Это моя команда.
So that one of the things I needed to also do is to build a team. When one should build a public organization like NGO, you need a team. One person cannot do it. So I have to go and begin to campaign for people, volunteers to come for free, to come and join me and begin to give out these medical services to people. So I built a team of medical people who want to add value to life of people around them. So a lot of people want to add value, but they cannot do it because nobody has taught them. They have not been taught to add value to, we have just been taught to work. We have not been taught to add value. We have just been taught to go and get a job. We have not been taught to change lives and to change a nation. So everybody wants to find an opportunity to change a nation. So people started joining me. That's how I got a team, and we will do events every weekend in different areas of the city, and crowd will begin to come. You see, these are people. You see all the photographs. These my team members examining old age people, giving them free examination, and we have sponsors. And we raise our own money, and many organizations, businesses, give us services, and pharmaceutical organizations also come to our aid, and because they also, and even political parties started joining us and supporting us because they also need significance and they also want to have influence. So they want to ride on us to give their name and to what we are doing, so that people will think that they also are the ones that are really contributing that to the people. So these are some of the things we have done. And so we keep on seeing all the youths. No matter what I показываю. Ой, прошу. Да, выше. Вот на уровне шеи. Вот так. So these are some of the things. Только ближе к шее. No, ближе к груди. Вот так. Yeah, some of the things are the things we are doing. You see all the photographs. Дальше.
И представьте, когда мы это начали делать...
Показали просто в общем в этой фотографии, чтобы много.
А там другой будет.
Я понял.
Okay. Вот, да, это только маленькая часть. У меня их сотни. Это маленькая часть того, что я...
I have hundreds of photographs like this. Yeah, maybe hundreds or thousands of photographs of our activities, what we do. I mean, thousands. I became from nobody who was just a medical doctor. You're just going to work and getting salary and just treating one individual. And I was running myself crazy with all the patients I was having before. But now, ministering to hundreds of thousands of people in a year, it was like joy. Instead of me going into crisis and giving myself into depression through my work, but through my social work, through my adding value activities, I was becoming the most happy person in the world.
И представьте, когда я начала делать то, что говорил пастор Сандей, к нам просто люди сотнями начали идти сотнями, и мы стали организовывать с ними социальные клубы. И когда я ходила 15 лет в церковь, я еще раз повторюсь, я была лидером 5 человек домашней группы, и за 15 лет я парочку еще привела к Богу. И все, это был весь мой результат христианской жизни. А там за один сеанс, за один раз просто общественные акции, сотни людей, они приходили к нам на клубы. И мало того, что мы могли им оказать какую-то помощь медицинскую, мы говорили им о Боге, и мы их каяли, мы могли приводить их к покаянию. Это было невообразимо, невероятно для меня. И где-то за 3 года такой работы десятки тысяч человек мы помогли, и многих мы привели к Богу, представьте.
Can you imagine that I was going to church before then, and I was just a Christian living my own life, and I thought that because I was leading a home group that I was a hero. Maybe I was able to, for 5 years of going to church before then, I was able to affect maybe 25 people in my home group that was coming to church, and maybe a few people got their lives, they got saved in the church through me. That's all. For 5 years. Can you imagine being a Christian? I never affected people's lives. I was just going to church, to work as a medical doctor, and that was running me crazy. But when I started following the instructions of Pastor Sunday, started this public organization, and started reaching out to people to live for something greater than myself, to live for all people, and to try to do good to as many people as possible, you cannot believe it. I mean, we started affecting tens of thousands of people at a single time. I started having a big team. I started influencing people. I mean, these are all people who don't come to church. These are all people who are unbelievers. These are just regular people in the country. But besides that, Pastor also told us that we don't just reach out to people as an event, but beyond the event, that we must always conserve the harvest. So one of the strategies that Pastor taught us is how to conserve the harvest. And how to conserve the harvest is that you must form a club. So we started forming a club. For example, club for people who want to live a healthy life. Club for people who want to be free of diabetes. Club for people who want to support other people who are sick of diabetes. Club of people who want to be free, you don't want to ever get diabetes. Club of people who have heart diseases, and club of people who want to support the support club for heart disease patients, and club of people who don't ever want to get heart disease, and club of people who have other challenges. So we have all these clubs all over the country where there are tens and tens of thousands of people coming. Just me alone, and in those clubs is where people get saved and they give their life to Christ. This is from one person who had been coming to church for 5 years and was not able to make a difference, and now just by using the principles of the kingdom that the pastor taught me, I alone started a whole movement that was changing a whole country through the area of problems of medicine.
Примерно такие клубы мы проводили.
So this is a club. This is an example of our club, for example. So these are people coming to the club, maybe like 10, 20 people. They are just members of the club. And yeah, they are another person показывать. Yeah, each drew going. Okay, these are different groups.
Было много, их очень много.
Many hundreds of these clubs. So people gather together and support each other.
И что случилось дальше? Представьте, когда мы делали такие акции, я заключила деловой контракт со сетью аптек не просто. Мы сделали в одной аптеке, понравилось. И я пошла к директору, руководителю всей огромной сети украинских аптек. И нам дали вообще все аптеки Украины, чтобы мы делали там акции, потому что мы подняли им продажи своими акциями.
So one of the fallouts of this or positive impact of this was that pharmaceutical companies of the country started competing with each other and saying that, wow, so you are working with that pharmaceutical company, we want to work with you as well. Because the pharmaceutical companies were having popularity. They were getting famous because thanks to our work. So every pharmaceutical company wants to partner with us and give us medicine for free, because once we recommend and they see the names of those pharmaceutical industry, all the thousands of people that we were covering, they know those pharmaceutical companies and they begin to patronize them. So to cut a long story short, there was no pharmaceutical company in the country that was not working with us. All pharmaceutical companies in the whole country came under our influence. Partners became our partners to reach out and help us to improve the health of people. They also never thought about reaching out to bring value to people or to change the lives of people before. But because we started doing something, a chain of value, a value chain began to take place. And, other people started joining that value chain. And as a result, the whole medicine medicine industry in our country were covered, participating in bringing value to the country.
Но так как это очень быстро все происходило, Бог так начал мощно двигаться, когда пастор Сандей давал эти задания, что я не успевала реагировать. Конечно, мы не смогли там охватить все аптеки Украины, мы смогли охватить аптеки только одного района. Но в это время нас заметили другие руководители этого района и пригласили меня работать вместе с ними, потому что было очень большое...
Руководители чего? Политические, медицинские?
И политические, и государственные деятели, района, райадминистрация.
Okay. So I only took one particular region of the state, and I used that as my main center. But because we were so influential, because of all the people that were coming, to attend our events and our clubs, I became so popular that the politicians got in touch with me. I never knew I would become a politician ever in my life, or I would ever have political influence. But the politicians started coming to me and offering me political positions. So that is how my political career began.
Они сразу предложили место работать вместе с ними, потому что они очень сильно нуждались в нас, таких деятелях. Я согласилась.
I never knew that politicians, they are looking for people. And we had so many people, and because they knew that I was the one that had influence over all these people, and I was the one that the people knew, so that's why they just proposed to me to be with them, to join they gave me a political position, and I agreed, and so I became part of the government.
Пастор Сандей нас учил на домашних группах, что нам нужно быть первыми, нужно быть лучшими, все равно не останавливаться на достигнутом, а идти вперед больше и больше. И я подумала, что можно еще больше развить эту деятельность, и пригласила к своему сотрудничеству еще 25 общественных организаций других.
So thanks to that, and Pastor Sunday has also taught us that we should not be satisfied at one level of success. That we should not rest on our oars, and that we should not be satisfied that we are successful in one thing. That we should always build momentum on our success. So since I was admitted into politics, and I was in the government, and pastors told me I should build momentum. So as a result, I brought 25 other people into political positions. 25 more people came, and into the government, thanks to my organization and to my activity.
Да. И мы начали делать вместе много совместных проектов. Во-первых, эти люди начали нас финансировать и давать государственные средства на наши проекты. То есть у нас отпал уже вопрос финансирования, а это был очень важный вопрос.
The good thing about working with politicians and being in government is that, I started having, government finances. I started having political finances, political support and financial support from the government and politicians, because they want to be relevant and they don't know what to do. They cannot go and touch people. They don't have keys and instruments to touch and improve people's lives. They just have money to distribute, but we have relationship with the people. So they started sponsoring all the things that we are doing. And that is not a small thing, that you have finances to do everything you need to do.
Наши цели совпали. Мы делали очень много добрых дел для того, чтобы привести людей к Богу. А эти люди, они на государственном уровне тоже обязаны были заботиться о обществе. Но государство финансировало все эти проекты, поэтому они спустили эти деньги нам.
So you see, the government needed influence, and with the people, they needed the votes of the people, the influence of the people, but there is budget for it. All this money from the budget were being wasted before, being stolen, because they didn't even know what to do with the money. But now there is something that was going to the people for real, not just to buy them once in a while, but these are real work with people, real popularity. They needed the popularity, they needed the people's votes, and the budget is going there anyway. So the money from the budget was being directed to us, China, and we are ministering to people, improving their health, and also bringing them to God, and also bringing them to salvation.
Вот мы заключаем контракты.
See, this is some of my
25 лидеров общественных организаций, которые я пригласила. 25 лидеров.
See all this government. This is a government meeting, and this is a contract. But I brought all these are politicians that I brought into government from my team, and there are 25 of us are sitting down in the government. See the flag of the country, the national coat of arms and everything. And we had a contract. My own organization, my club, my NGO signed a memorandum with the government officially that we are working. So these things are official.
Да. И представьте, эти 25 других общественных организаций, они не только в медицинской сфере, они двигались в разных других сферах. И фактически мы охватили полностью этот район. Мы работали с мужчинами, женщинами, реабилитационными центрами, с пожилыми людьми, участниками войны, бомжами, кем угодно. То есть каждая организация имела свое направление. И мы, когда я посчитала влияние наших проектов, мы охватили за 3 года 250 тысяч человек.
You know, these 25 people that I brought to the government, you know, all of them also had their own NGOs. So I am reaching out through medicine to all the people that I'm reaching out to, and then they are also reaching out. Every one of them have their own direction. Like, for example, one of them is an organization reaching out to crisis families. Another one is reaching out to senior citizens. Another one is reaching out to addicted people.
Sport.
Another one was reaching out to sports, youth through sports. Another one was reaching out through life coaches.
Различные конференции.
And conferences.
Женские клубы, мужские клубы.
Women, men clubs. So all spheres of life were covered through these 25 organizations, and you know, so we were able to reach out to the whole city. We were in every home just because we were using our. Can you imagine? I, through medicine, reaching out to tens of thousands, just members of our club alone, or through all these 25 organizations, we were 250,000 members in that was part of our movement in that city.
И представьте,
все
эти лидеры тоже не только делали добрые дела, они могли свидетельствовать людям об Иисусе Христе и приглашать церковь.
And we were using all these platforms not just to do good works and to do charity, but everybody we do charity to, we became an authority to be able to minister the gospel to them as well. So all these people were also being saved and brought to the kingdom of God.
И пастор Сандей параллельно также побуждал нас ходить еще в общественные советы, не останавливаться на достигнутом только организации. И я по послушанию пошла в 2 совета. Это Министерство здравоохранения и совет при этом районе, где я работала, общественный совет.
So apart from that, because my own area is medicine, Pastor Sunday also say you should have national influence, not just in the government, but you should also have national influence in the area of in the ministry or in the parastatal that pertains to your area of influence. Since my area of influence is medicine, so I went to join to have a position in the Ministry of Health. So I started influencing the Ministry of Health so that we could change the policy about health in the whole country. But not just me, all those other 25 organizations and 25 people that were in the government with me, all of them also went into all the spheres of influence that they were influencing so that they might change policies in the ministries and parastatus of all those, you know, their different areas of influence and their spheres of influence.
Это органы, в которых мы могли не только мы могли влиять, чтобы менять законы. То есть мы могли намного больше иметь влияние, которое заключалось в каких-то насаждении принципов Евангелия, и они более были на законодательном уровне. И это дало еще больше влияния мне, потому что там находились люди, которые занимали определенные положения и в стране, и в районе, и в городе.
Now, the reason why we had to go into not just being government, the executive part of government, but also why we should go to the ministerial part of government and have position, and also legislative, is because we needed to change the policies. And it is only when you change the policies of your sphere of influence that you have brought the kingdom of God. So we are finding out policies that don't line up with the kingdom of God. We are finding out in every sphere of influence what are the policies, what are the practices that are not procedures, that are not in line with the principles of the kingdom of God. And then we are proposing new principles and new policies. And so so we are bringing new laws, new orders, new rules, new policies, new golden rules into all these spheres of influence, both executive sphere of influence and legislative. So that is how you are changing a nation. That is what we're able to do, not just in the area of medicine, but in all other spheres of influence. Youth, senior citizens, and all, female, women and children and family and all spheres of life.
Мы стали делать много совместных акций и проектов. И вот, например, этот человек, например, он стал впоследствии, мы делали с ним совместные проекты, и он стал министром здравоохранения. А тогда он возглавлял этот...
One of our people, this person that you are seeing, you see me in the middle, and this other man that is in the white coat, that person who was part of our team, working with us, became later on the Minister of Health of Ukraine.
В другом общественном совете меня избрали заместителем главы из-за большой деятельности, которую мы проводили, и влияния. Вот я тоже провожу этот общественный совет.
This is an executive arm of government, and here that is the president, and I'm one of the vice chairman of the executive arm of the government in a state here in Ukraine.
И когда это происходило, с нас уже никто не смеялся, что мы христиане, нас никто не...
When you begin to have such an influence, nobody can laugh at you anymore. Because we have so much influence and significance, nobody could laugh at us. Nobody could laugh at Christ or Christianity because we have so much power.
Эта позиция и влияние дали огромное уважение к нам и стали считаться с нашей церковью, с принципами, которые мы говорили. А если кто-то не считался, у них, мы могли не общаться с ними или сделать какие-то санкции к ним, поэтому люди, наоборот, стремились иметь с нами.
This is what happens when you step out of the four walls of the church. This is what happens when you empower every member of the church and you make them to begin to bring relevance and significance. So when you bring significance and you teach people to go and focus on their spheres of influence, when you teach them and you empower them to go and identify some problems and some areas of influence, and you empower them, this is what happens. And they begin to make a difference. And instead of just sitting down influencing 5 or 25 people in the church or in home groups, they could go from 5 people to 25,000 people, from 25 people to 250,000 people. And that's what we did. And just 25 of us were influencing millions of people in this country, and we were changing the law. Everything was in order. We were doing things according to the way we want things to be done in our country. We were in charge of our country just because we decided to pursue our goals, to be able to use the principles of the kingdom of God, to advance the kingdom of God, the truth of the kingdom of God, and bring it to every area of life.
Но самое поразительное это то, что такой же успех, который был у меня, имели абсолютно все члены домашней группы пастора Сандея, которые действительно делали все задания, которые были ему послушны и хотели, чтобы Бог их использовал.
And this story I'm telling you is not a singular story like this. Everybody that was trained by Pastor Sunday had his testimony like this. Everybody became a history maker. That's why this movement is called History Makers Movement. These people were changing the law, the city. They were changing the country. They were turning the world upside down. They became movers and shakers. So just because we follow the instructions that Pastor Sunday was giving unto us, it's not just enough to go to church. It's not just enough to become born again. And it's not just enough to live for yourself. Once you decide to stop living for yourself and to begin to live for the kingdom and pursue the kingdom of God and live for people and give your life and resources to live for people and discipline yourself to live for people and pursue God's purpose for your life, you will not believe it. God will always do beyond what you could think or imagine.
Они состоялись в каких-то других сферах их призвания, куда Бог их призывал, и мы начали друг друга поддерживать и помогать друг другу. И вот, например, один такой человек, это Елена Стебельская, она пригласила меня в Министерство иностранных дел, там, где она была вхожа, и на конференции, и тоже познакомила с очень многими влиятельными людьми, и это тоже очень сильно мне помогло в моей деятельности.
She showed you an example of some of the other influences that she had with some other government people, and that she was also in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and she was other with ministers and all that, taking decisions that concern and affect the destiny of the nation. And so that's what Christianity is supposed to be about. When, ordinary Christians are the ones that change the country. This is what the Bible says, that the pastors, they will only come to the church to be equipped. You are only equipped in the church to go and do the work of the ministry. This is what it's talking about. The work of the ministry is supposed to be done by ordinary members. Ordinary members are supposed to be doing the work of ministry from Monday to Friday on daily basis. And the pastors are supposed to be training them, equipping them, and helping them to go out and pursue their dreams and go and win the kingdom and go and establish the kingdom of God and win the world for Christ and restore the earth back to God. And that's what can you imagine when Pastor Sunday has 500 group people in his mentorship team like that, sometimes 800 people in his mentorship team. Can you imagine 800 people doing this all over the country, or even 500 people doing this, affecting one single person could be affecting 1 million people or 500,000 people, 250,000 people just for one person. And what can you imagine how that's why Embassy of God minimum affects between 5 to 18 million people in a year. Every single year, Embassy of God touches up to 15 to 18 million people. Can you imagine a church? So we don't count people who are in the congregation, but who we touch outside of the congregation. And within a year, we touch in the average 15 to 18 million people as a church. Because just thanks to these people who are proactive and who are actually advancing the kingdom of God over there. That's what Jesus was saying. Go ye therefore and make disciples of nations. Go to where they are. Don't wait for them to come to where you are. Don't wait for them to come to the congregation or to the church building. But you go and disciple them where they are. And that's what we have learned to do by the preaching of the gospel of the kingdom.
Находясь на домашней группе пастора Сандея, я увидела, что самая большая проблема у меня и у моих друзей была эта проблема нашего мышления. У нас было просто много лет религиозное мышление. То есть какие-то религиозные обряды, мы ходили в церковь, мы их соблюдали, но мы не представляли, что самое главное, почему Бог нас не может использовать, потому что мы не мыслим так, как мыслят успешные люди. И пастор Сандей на этих домашних группах, он полностью поменял мышление, он выбил нас всякую религию.
Have discovered the reason why the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ is not effective today is because we have our own religious mindset, and the biggest challenge of the church today is to change that religious mindset. If you could be trained like Pastor Sunday trained us. The biggest challenge you have to face is to change yourself. It's to change your religious mindset of just being, or what you have been taught that Christianity was. This is not what Christianity is about, just to come to church every Sunday, bring your tithe and offering, and not do anything out there. That's not Christianity. That is not the kind of Christianity Jesus spoke about. That's not the kind of Christianity that God envisaged. But that is the Christianity that is the wrong model of Christianity that we have right now. People live in that kind of Christianity, the gospel of salvation. People only come to church to minister to themselves, for God to do something for them. It's all about me and I and what I could get from God. So really, you are not living for God. You are making God to do something for you. So we're actually using God. So that is what must change. You must change from coming to church for yourself to coming to God for God. Coming to God to find out what God needs and where God needs you and how God wants you to do, what you can do for God. Instead of you coming to church to ask for what God wants to do for you or what God could do for you, you are actually coming to church to say, God, use me. And what do you want me to do? How can I go out and do something for you? Being not making God for yourself, not having your own God or put God in pocket, but actually making sure that God created you for himself and making sure that he uses you for his purpose, not you using God for your purpose, but God using you for his purpose.
Пастор Сергей нам объяснял, что многие христиане не востребованы и не актуальны в этом мире, потому что мы не занимались образованием, самообразованием, и мы очень сильно отставали от мира. И пастор Сергей всегда нас учил развивать себя, работать над собой. На его группах мы читали по 3 книги в месяц.
When goal becomes pleasing God and doing everything to know, but when you already know that you are created for him, he created you for his purpose. He gave you the gifts that you have for his purpose. He gave you the talents and ability and the knowledge, everything you have for his purpose. When you know that you are here for him, then it becomes a matter of challenge for you to challenge yourself to be the best wherever you are. Why do you want to be the best? To glorify his name. Because he died for you. He gave his life for you. And if he gave his life for me, I want to give my best for him as well. I want to study to become the best. I want to study hard. I want to become the best in my school, in my profession. I want to become an example so that I could become an example that people emulate. I could become, an example that people want to follow. So that way I have influence and people could follow me. And I want to advance his kingdom. How do I advance his kingdom? By bringing solution to people where they are, by building a platform whereby I could address people's problems and needs through the power of God and through the knowledge that I have and through the influence that I have. Then people could believe me because I've changed their lives. Go out there and change people's lives. Go out there and influence people positively. Go out there and change the order of how things are done, and then people will see that you have come with a difference. They will know that God is with you, and that is how you bring the kingdom of God to a sphere of influence. And then you are a happy person that you see thousands of lives being changed, instead of you just going to church forever for 10, 20, 15 years forever and nothing is changing. You are not contributing positively, and you are not seeing thousands of lives change. It's just like a waste. Like Jesus died just for you alone, and you only take yourself and a few people to heaven with you, instead of you to go out there and really show the love of God and really do practical works, change the lives of people, affect the lives of people, and get your treasure in heaven, like Jesus said we should do. We should be working every day to advance the kingdom of God and to gather treasure in heaven.
Пастор Сандей убеждал нас профессионально развиваться и получать образование, не только первое, а второе, идти в аспирантуру и защищать докторские диссертации, чтобы иметь еще большее влияние.
So even though I'm a medical doctor myself, but Pastor Sunday said, for you to really become an authority, for you to really be respected out there, you need to go and get more education. So I went to get my second degree, and after second degree, I went to do my doctorate, my PhD. And, I have my PhD right now. Why? It's not because I needed it. It's not because I needed to, I didn't need it. I didn't even see the need. But because I understood that for the kingdom's sake, I need to do it. And the kingdom needs this. And to glorify the name of my Father, I need to do this. For me to have a greater platform, I need to do this. So I went to do the PhD. Why? Because I needed to bring more influence of the kingdom to greater platform.
И я послушалась, я пошла, и несмотря на то, что я врач, я закончила докторантуру и защитила докторскую диссертацию по международным отношениям.
Yeah, so that's what I did. So despite the fact that I'm already just a doctor, but I stopped seeing myself just as a limited person in the area of, just being a doctor. My mind was expanded. My being a doctor of medicine is one thing, but being a doctor of science is another thing. And I removed the borders. I removed the limitation in my mind, and my world expanded, and I began to reach my, the sky is my limit now, because I have added value to myself so much. And that's why Pastor Sunday talks a lot about that. Somebody that should be able to bring solution in every place.
И сейчас, я верю, что она поможет мне во втором этапе моего призвания. И сейчас у меня большая команда. Те же принципы, которые пастор заложил на домашней группе во мне, я распространяю многим людям. И мы сейчас охватываем много очень сфер. Моя общественная организация.
So right now I'm going beyond what Pastor Sunday has already taught me. I'm now doing what he has done with me. I'm now the one. Pastor Sunday is no more holding those mentorship training. We have graduated. So I'm now setting up my own mentorship training classes. So I have my own disciples, a lot of followers after me, but my focus now is to make them to become revolutionaries like myself, to make them to become history makers, world changers like myself. And they are covering other spheres of life just like I was doing.
Я подняла много служителей, несколько пастырей, и мы совмещаем служение в церкви, мы служим в церкви также.
Besides that, I still work in the church. I still a minister in the church, and I myself have raised a lot of pastors. I'm a pastor myself now as well. I became a pastor in the process, and I have pastors that I've developed, that I've raised up myself.
И служим также большому количеству неверующих людей в обществе.
But our focus is not what we do in the church. What we do in the church is we only see that as a platform to prepare workers and to prepare sons, to prepare deliverers and saviors, to prepare workers, laborers. But we don't focus on the church as our end result. Our end result, we always focus on the community, on the society, changing the societies, changing the nation is our focus. And that is what our primary objective are. So all the people that I'm training, they are doing the same thing that I told you about right now.
На сегодняшний день я сама являюсь пастором успешным, я являюсь врачом, я работаю каждый день, занимаюсь медицинской деятельностью, тоже очень много людям раздаю приглашения в церковь, на работе, и также я занимаюсь огромной общественной деятельностью,
So
совмещаю.
can you imagine how Pastor Sunday has prepared us? Pastor Sunday has prepared us to be warriors. Can you imagine? I am a lady, you're right, and then I'm a professional doctor, medical doctor. I didn't walk away from my medical practice. I'm still practicing as a medical doctor. I'm working full time with the government as a medical doctor. Besides that, I'm a local pastor church. I have a church. I'm pastoring a local church. Besides that, I have mentorship teams that I'm discipling that are going all over the world and are changing the whole country. And besides that, I have all those my social organizations under my NGOs, and I have my team, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm still in government, like I told you. I'm still doing all the things that I told you I was doing, and I'm still raising other people to do the same thing. This is one person. How one person can change the world just because Pastor Sunday has given us such a work ethic that you wonder how a human being, how one person could do so much. But that's what Pastor Sunday has taught us to do.
Лидеры, которых я подняла уже в моей команде, они тоже занимаются, они сами некоторые стали пасторами, служителями, и они занимаются очень многими сферами. Например, мы работаем в школах также.
Okay, for example, one of my team members, he went to win the world of schools, primary schools and secondary schools. So that is a whole sphere of influence that my disciples now are taking over.
Насаждаем христианские принципы детям.
So taking the principles of the kingdom of God to schools.
Другие мои лидеры, они работают с пожилыми людьми, делают прямо на улицах акции.
Another direction of my disciples is that
социальные клубы.
They do social clubs, so charity clubs, social clubs. So people, from people who are unbelievers, just come and join our club because people are bored, people have depression. So whatever, just social clubs. People are having social clubs all over the country. People just coming together, outside of the church, wherever they live, in their households, in their neighborhoods.
Это другие, да, социальные клубы мы открываем. Еще другие открывают церкви в Киевской области.
Other people are opening churches, just all kind of things people are doing.
Они работают с домами престарелых.
So some of them who are working also with senior citizens.
И хотят открыть, уже несколько открыли церквей.
And then those senior citizens, and they become churches.
Еще один лидер стал капелланом и поехал в АТО.
Then also we have, I have one of my disciples who has become a chaplain in the army. So he's pastoring people in the army.
И он приводит сотни солдат. Он
And
сейчас прямо там
he has
находится.
hundreds of soldiers and officers under him. They are there all the time. He's just been pastoring soldiers and bringing thousands of them to Christ.
Да, он звонит и говорит, что сотни солдат приводит к
That
Богу и все
hundreds of
каются.
warriors, hundreds of military people are giving their lives to Christ.
Да, еще я поднимаю несколько миссионеров, которые поедут открывать церкви в других городах Украины.
But besides that, I also have another school for missionaries. I'm raising missionaries who go all over the country to raise up churches as well.
И также я сотрудничаю до сих пор с одним из депутатов, и он помогает нам тоже развить деятельность в одном из районов.
And this is beside the political things that we're still doing.
Да, и я хочу сказать в заключение, что то, что Бог вот за 5 лет, 3-5 лет моя жизнь до такой степени изменилась, что я до сих пор не могу прийти в себя. Представьте, я так долго говорила, прелюдию, что 15 лет я стояла в группе порядка, вела группу 5 человек, и только за 3 года, от 3 до 5 лет того, как пастор Сандея стал со мной работать, меня нельзя узнать, я себя сама не могу узнать. Бог через пастора Сандея ввел меня фактически в мое призвание и сделал настоящей личностью. Я настолько счастлива, я могу влиять на десятки тысяч людей.
To conclude, in conclusion of this, my speech, I just want to thank Pastor Sunday and thank God that I don't recognize myself. I have become a nation changer. I have become a nation changer. Can you believe it? I have become a mover and a shaker. I as a single individual. I mean, this is one person changing a whole nation. And we have hundreds of people doing the same thing, thousands of people doing the same thing in this country. Can you imagine it? This is just in the last 3 years, in the last 3 to 5 years. And before this, I was in church for years. And I was only having a home group, 25 people in the home group, and maybe, just being in the choir or in the usher group. But in the last 3 to 5 years, It's like I can change the whole country. It's like the whole country is under my influence right now. And just because somebody taught me the principles of the kingdom, somebody taught me the strategies of the kingdom. I know how to subdue a whole nation before God right now. Just because somebody taught me to change my mindset about church, to get up from that pews, to get up from that four walls of the church, to go and make myself, an embodiment of the kingdom of God, to go and make disciples outside of the four walls of the church, to go and, train people, to go and use people's problems to become my platform, and to go and provide solutions for them, and to learn to work hard, not pitying yourself, and not looking for comfort zone, but advancing the kingdom of God. And I see lives of people are changing. It's like I'm living in a dream world. It's like I'm dreaming. Can't believe this is happening to me. It's like a dream. This is really happening to me, but it's like a dream. I can't believe this is my life. It's a dream life. And this dream life is possible for every one of you.
Я забыла еще сказать, пастор Сандей подтолкнул меня, научил редактировать и писать книги.
I also joined another team that Pastor Sunday formed he was teaching people to write books. Pastor Sunday said you can do everything. And because we saw Pastor Sunday writing so many books, so I wanted to also be challenged to know how to do this. And Pastor Sunday taught me. Now I write books as well.
Да, я уже несколько отредактировала. И когда я все проанализировала, я сделала такое заключение, что, Боже мой, тысячи людей во всем мире, христиан, они не могут состояться, и они никогда не исполняют то, что Бог открыл, потому что вот из этого религиозного мышления я хочу всех призвать, все, кто нас сегодня смотрят, что если вы хотите состояться, если вы хотите исполнить ту мечту, которую в сердце вложил вам Бог, вам нужно обязательно выучиться, поступить на обучение к пастору Сандею, обязательно иметь хорошего ментора, наставника, который поможет вам сделать то, к чему Бог вас призывает.
You see, this is like a fairy tale that I'm telling you right now. And I feel so sorry. I feel so sorry for the body of Christ. And I feel so sorry for the church worldwide that we've been practicing the wrong model of church. I mean, people just go to church every Sunday and they think that's the highlight of their Christianity. That's the highlight of their Christian life. And they do this over and over again, years and years again. And this is just like ludicrous. This is just so sad that people are being wasted in the pews, and people just work for the world system. They work for money. They work for the world system. They're just wasting their destinies and their lives, whereby each one of them could be bringing in the harvest of thousands and millions, and they have not been taught how to do this. People are just working for the vision of one man or for one pastor's vision, and everybody is just being faithful to one person's vision instead of them pursuing their own visions, instead of them pursuing their goals, instead of them to be released to their destinies, to their vision. And instead, can you imagine if every member of the church will be allowed to pursue their own vision and will be empowered to pursue their own vision? Can you imagine how fast we could change the whole world and take the earth back to God?
Хождение в церковь само, оно ничего не меняет в жизни. Если мы не изменимся как личности качественно, если мы не поменяемся, Бог не может нас использовать. И суть любого призвания, она заключается в том, чтобы каждый человек максимально работал над собой. А для этого ему нужен ментор и хороший наставник.
The greatest that could happen to any human being on earth is to have the right mentor. And that's the greatest thing that has happened to me. God gave me the right mentor, somebody that has decided to teach me how to live. We've not been taught how to live, really, and we've not been taught how to live the Christian life. Now, I have been privileged to be taught to live the Christian life, but also, for you to be successful like this, you must learn to deny yourself. And this is what I've been taught, to deny myself, not to live for myself, but to live for God and to live for others for it. You see, in our church also, not everybody has been so successful. Why? Because you must be willing to deny yourself. If you want to live for pleasure, then you don't have time to have this kind of stories and testimonies. But if you're really ready to live for the glory of God and to deny yourself and sacrifice your comfort, and you will be amazed at the harvest and the kind of changes that God will bring through your life. And that's what I've witnessed, and that's what I'm seeing every day. It's a fairy tale life. It's unbelievable. You feel like you're in heaven already.
И я не могу забыть, пастор Сандей нам всегда говорил, что самое главное, вы должны так работать и так жить, Все должны делать вы, очень много зависит от вас. И только то, что вы не можете сделать, когда вы выложились на 100%, когда вы сделали все от себя зависящее в сфере вашего призвания, вот тогда вы можете молиться Богу, и Бог уже вам поможет.
One of the principles that Pastor Sunday taught us is that we should work as if there is no God. So that's the principle. We should work hard as if there is no God. And we should also pray hard and believe hard as if we have not worked at all. So you should work hard as if there is no God, as if everything depended on your work and your hard work. But on the other hand, you should pray and believe God so hard as if you've not worked at all, as if everything depended just on your trust and your faith in God. But today, in the churches today, the pastors that we have today, they've taught us to only depend on God. But Pastor Sunday teaches the opposite. Don't ever ask God to do anything for you unless you have done your best first. Only after you have done your best and you couldn't do anything anymore and you cannot go beyond that, you have done your best and nothing is happening, then you have the right to ask God. You don't have the right to ask God for anything if you have not put in your best shot first. So that's the way we have been taught to live. And thanks to that principle, we take responsibility for things. We take responsibility to change the world. We are not asking God to come and change the world. We are not asking God to come and resolve the problems of our countries. We resolve the problems of the countries. We take charge. And that is what has brought about these results.
Фактически 15 лет я перекладывала свою ответственность на Бога. Я ходила в церковь и каждый день ждала чуда, что Бог должен сделать какое-то чудо, вот оно само собой произойдет в моей жизни. И, конечно, я хочу еще раз повториться, что много людей по всему миру именно так и живет. Дорогие, чудо ждать нельзя. Чудо может быть в какой-то сфере то, что мы не можем сделать, но мы должны свое призвание осуществлять своими собственными руками. Мы должны много трудиться, много работать над собой, и тогда Бог будет нас очень сильно употреблять. И то, что я поняла, те помазанники, которые состоялись, которые стали великими, в том числе и пастор Санде, это только по одной причине, что они проделали колоссальную работу над собой и огромный труд в своем призвании, и поэтому Бог их благословил.
You see, one of the things that must be corrected in the modern church today is that mentality of people waiting for miracles. Everybody going to church for miracles. And we are making a big deal of God doing miracles. But it's God doing the miracles. Every pastor will tell you that they are not the ones who are the miracle workers. God is the miracle worker. So if God is the miracle worker, so he's the one doing the miracles, then what are you doing? So we just are boasting and talking about the miracles God is doing. But God is also waiting on us to do our own part. So everybody now is going to church just to wait on God, expecting something from God. Then what are we here for? What are we supposed to do? If we are only waiting and relying on God and his miracles, as if we are disabled. If we are not disabled, we should take responsibilities. And even some of you who are listening now, you shouldn't just listen to these things. Go ahead and practice them. Go ahead and take responsibility. You shouldn't be bragging about all the miracles that are happening through you or in your life. Miracles are what God does. What are you doing from your own side? We want to see what you have done. You know, God does what you cannot do. You do your best first before you begin to ask for miracles. You know, take responsibility to change your life, to change your world. Take responsibility for your country, for your nation. To, get out and think. Go and study. Go and get knowledge. Go and get wisdom on what you can do to make your world a better place. You have been sent to the world for a purpose, for a reason. There is something that you are supposed to redress or address in this world. You are here. You have been sent here by God on a mission. So, go and address it. What will you change in your lifetime? Every one of us have been sent here to change something. What will you change? What will you tell God when you get to heaven? What will you tell God? That's what this is all about. Will you tell God that you have been able to subdue a sphere of life to God through his principles, through his righteousness? What area of life, what promised land have you or will you subdue in your lifetime for God? What testimony of the earth will you bring back to God? What fruits of the earth will you bring back to God? That's what it's all about. So if you want to live like that, then heaven will be rejoicing for you. And that is one of the things we must change in the church. Instead of us just rejoicing about the fruits of what miracle God does, we should begin to bring our own fruit of what we have done so that God could even do more miracles for us. Well, let's say thank you to Elena, because our time is getting to an end. Let's see some of the things that you people say. This is Elena, and we are very thankful for her. But let's see what some of you have said. Will you go ahead and write your comments? Please go ahead and write your comment. What have you learned today? And what has the Lord shown you today? What have you discovered today? And what are you going to do with what you have learned today? Let's read some of your comments. And if you have not shared this link, go ahead and share the link. Let's go and share this link, okay? Go share the link and let's hear what your responses are and your lessons. Funmilayo Agape says, I can't just type, I want to listen. God bless you, sir. You have really impacted their lives in Ukraine. God bless, and I bless God for Africa, waiting for Africa, okay? Layo Charles Emmanuel said, don't ever ask God to do anything for you unless you have done your best. We should tweet. Layo is asking us to tweet this. Unless you have done it, and you have given it your best shot. Let's tweet this. Niyo Lushola said, that's it. Walk as if you have not prayed and pray as if you have not walked. And somebody is saying, happy birthday, Pastor Sunday. It's not birthday I have. What I have is wedding anniversary. I'm 22 years in marriage today. So it's not a birthday. It's wedding anniversary I have. Flair Karin Matip says, wow, wow, wow. No comments. No comments. Wow, the revolution is here and it is possible everywhere. Praise to God. Thank you, Helena, for this great and wonderful testimony. I'm so blessed to carry on my goals in that way. Thank you, Pastor, to teach all these principles of the kingdom of God to everyone and for free. We love you. Much love to you both. Happy birthdays too. It's not birthday I have, it's birthday of my family. Ernest Ebong said, it's true. If it's possible to fast forward to 2017, we could do that. If it's possible to rewind our lives, to start all over again, to recover all the wasted years in church, we will do that. Peter Martin says, if every church will preach this same gospel, the world will be free from oppression of the devil. A-Team Israel says, sir, I am so thrilled by this testimony. By these testimonies, it's as if I just understanding Christianity now. I'm set for new things. Yep. Oh, Didi, спасибо, Елена. Божьего благословения вам. По-русски пишет.
Спасибо.
Okay. Who is there again? Let's see. Some more testimonies. Nalva Gomez. Pastor Sunday, Adelaja, happy birthday, congratulations. I don't have a birthday today. May you always be okay. Olukayode says, it is obvious that women are taking up sons' position for God. Even on this platform, we have more women, great daughters of Zion. Shegun Lawal say, Pastor Sunday, wow, this is great and wonderful. When we hear testimony from one and thinking that this is great and hear another testimony and it will be another mind-blowing. Woman of God, Helena, thank you for giving to the Lord. Man of God, thank you for your life. Thank you. Thank you. Emmanuel Anishebe, God bless you, man of God. Thank you. Shijuwade Ibojo said, well done, Pastor, for this great work. More anointing in Jesus' name. Thank you.